What would happen to Earth if the sun suddenly disappeared right now? Not an eclipse, not a mechanical failure, but a complete erasure from the laws of physics themselves. What would you see? This is one of the most brutal scientific thought experiments based on current physics. And now you're about to witness the real fate of Earth, minute by minute, century by century, after losing its star. For the first 8 minutes and 20 seconds, you wouldn't feel anything, because both light and gravity obey the same cosmic speed limit, the speed of light. The sunlight we feel right now was actually emitted by the sun 8 minutes and 20 seconds ago. So at the exact moment the sun disappears, you remain completely unaware. Human civilization continues functioning normally in its final glow, enjoying the last 8 minutes and 20 seconds of solar blessing. This is the final twilight of human civilization. According to general relativity, gravity also propagates at the speed of light. This means that the moment sunlight vanishes from our sky, Earth simultaneously breaks free from the sun's gravitational anchor. Our planet instantly becomes a runaway rogue Earth, shooting straight into interstellar darkness along the tangent of its former orbit at nearly 30 kilometers per second and never looking back. This is a double loss, the loss of light and heat and the loss of the gravitational center that held our world in place. During these final 8 minutes and 20 seconds, cities remain loud, villages remain peaceful. No one realizes that their homeworld has already become a cosmic orphan. This extreme ignorance combined with the incoming catastrophe creates one of the greatest dramatic tensions in the universe. 8 minutes and 20 seconds later, eternal night descends. The sky shuts down as if someone flipped a cosmic switch. Everything collapses into absolute darkness. The moon, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, all the planets we once knew vanish instantly because they do not shine. They only reflect a sun that no longer exists. But the distant stars appear brighter than ever, like cold diamonds scattered across black velvet. Yet beneath this beautiful sky, a silent disaster has already begun. Global photosynthesis stops instantly, cutting off the energy source for nearly all life on Earth. Humanity's first reaction? Global panic, chaos, denial, confusion. Social media collapses under a tsunami of information. Rumors and speculation erupt everywhere. Moments later, massive blackouts begin. Solar power plants fail first, triggering chain reactions. Within minutes or hours, the overloaded global grid collapses. Cities go dark. People turn on flashlights and headlights, trying to push back a darkness that no human has ever faced. This darkness is unlike any night, because behind it, there is no sunrise waiting. 1 hour after the event, temperatures begin to plummet. Earth becomes a one-way thermal radiator, constantly losing its accumulated heat to space through infrared radiation. The cooling is slow but relentless. After one day, the global average temperature drops by 5 to 10 degrees Celsius. People recover from their initial shock, and instinctive survival mode takes over. Societal order becomes fragile and volatile. People rush into supermarkets, stripping shelves of food, water, candles, and batteries. Heating demand skyrockets instantly. Coal, oil, and natural gas. Once the engines of civilization become the most precious survival resources, the outdoors becomes extremely dangerous, not just because of the piercing cold, but because the collapse of order introduces new threats. After 1 week, a new frozen world takes shape. Global average temperatures fall to around 0 degrees Celsius. Regions that were once temperate or tropical now experience unprecedented, record-breaking snowfall. The oceans, Earth's enormous heat reservoir, begin releasing massive amounts of heat into space. Human society enters its first stage of reorganization. Survivors start helping each other and begin relocating towards stable energy sources. People flee toward locations near nuclear power plants, regions rich in geothermal activity, large hydroelectric facilities, or underground shelters with massive fuel reserves. The tightly connected global society quickly collapses into isolated regional survival islands. In this new world, scientists and engineers become humanity's most valuable assets. Everyday life revolves around a few essential missions: finding and rationing food, maintaining energy systems, and resisting the endless, advancing cold. Agriculture becomes a thing of the past. 1 month later, the planet officially enters a global glaciation era. Surface temperatures drop to between -20 degrees Celsius and -30 degrees Celsius. The oceans begin freezing rapidly from the surface downward, and the ice thickens with each passing day. Atmospheric circulation, once driving storms and monsoons, weakens as temperature differences across the surface diminish. After the last few storms fade, the world falls into a deep, motionless silence. The surface is no longer suitable for human survival. Survivors are forced underground. These underground shelters become the arks of a new humanity. They rely on nuclear power and geothermal heat to maintain an extremely fragile artificial ecosystem. Some attempt to build hydroponic farms using artificial lighting, growing mushrooms and shade-tolerant vegetables. Strict food rationing becomes the core of survival. After 1 year, Earth takes on a form it has never had before. Surface temperatures stabilize between -70 degrees Celsius and -100 degrees Celsius. At these temperatures, the atmosphere begins to precipitate as snow. Carbon dioxide, then oxygen and nitrogen, reach their freezing points and fall like snowflakes. A new layer of frozen air blankets the already ice-covered surface. The ocean's ice cover now extends hundreds of meters deep. If you could return to the surface now, you would witness a breathtaking and terrifying sight. A world covered in white crystalline frozen atmosphere and deep blue ice sheets hundreds of meters thick. Under the eternal, unchanging starlight, it is a world of silent, deadly beauty. Underground communities remain faintly connected through deeply buried fiber optic networks. They share survival techniques, engineering skills, and scientific knowledge. They become the living hard drives of human civilization. Their mission is no longer growth, but survival and the preservation of knowledge. In underground shelters, even bedtime routines adapt to the long darkness. 100 years later, the surface of Earth becomes an absolute dead zone. Temperatures drop below -200 degrees Celsius, approaching absolute zero. The atmosphere that once wrapped around us collapses completely, freezing and falling to the ground as solid particles. Earth becomes a frozen rock world, a cousin of Pluto wandering through the dark. If any humans remain at this point, they could only survive deep within geothermal hotspots where Earth's internal heat still seeps out. After several generations, they might evolve into isolated communities with entirely new cultures. The memory of the sun becomes mythology, a legend of a god of light and warmth. 1,000 years later, life finds its final refuge in the deep oceans. Surface ice is now several kilometers thick, insulating the world below from cosmic cold. But beneath this shield, geothermal heat keeps parts of the deep ocean liquid. Especially around hydrothermal vents, water remains warm enough for life to persist. These vents, spewing mineral-rich, scalding fluids, are the same places where life on Earth may have originated 4.6 billion years ago. Now they become the last sanctuary of Earth's biosphere. This deep-sea ecosystem consists of tube worms, blind shrimp, and countless microorganisms. They do not rely on sunlight, but survive on geothermal and chemical energy. For them, the sun's disappearance means nothing. They continue to thrive, unaware of the silent apocalypse above. The spark of Earth's life endures in this last warm sea. 1 million years later, Earth approaches its final destiny, In most scenarios, Earth remains a dark, frozen rock drifting silently through interstellar space. As the inner core cools, geological activity fades away. The geothermal energy sustaining deep-sea life eventually runs out. Without internal motion, Earth's magnetic field collapses. Life's last refuge, those hydrothermal vents, falls silent. Earth becomes truly lifeless, and yet a tiny, almost romantic possibility remains. Across millions, even hundreds of millions of years, Earth may avoid all catastrophic collisions. And with an infinitesimal probability, it could be captured by a lonely passing star. Earth would join a new star system, and the ice on its surface might melt once more under a foreign sun. But the world it reveals would be unrecognizable, a barren planet long stripped of its original life. This is the full story of Earth after losing its sun. From the ignorant last 8 minutes of light, to the panic of the first week, to the freezing of the first century, to the lonely survival near deep-sea vents after 1,000,000 years. It reminds us that Earth is both fragile and resilient. Life is both insignificant and magnificent. The sun's disappearance strips away life's advantages, but reveals the planet's hidden strength, its still beating core. So the next time we stand beneath the sunlight, we should see more than a star. We should see the delicate equilibrium that sustains our entire civilization. Now push this thought experiment to its extreme. If you could bring only 3 items into an underground refuge to preserve humanity's final spark, what would you choose? A seed, an encyclopedia, or a promise? Tell me your answer in the comments.